everyone, welcome back to the show. This is your Jee Sifu right here, and today is another interesting topic. Um, today, back to the Taoism and Taoist Magic talk show. So today we want to talk about time traveling. Um, so one thing that confuses people is that when we do divination, okay, we take a tool in the hand, ask the god a question, and we drop and see the result, and that's the answer from the god. Okay, divination, the word divination is about talking with the god, asking the god for answers. Okay, it is not about um like I heard people saying, and I see people saying that, oh, I need to consult the I Ching, the that book of change, right? Oh, I want to consult the book. And then people believe that you take some coin, the yarrow sticks and whatever, do a calculation, and then you get the result. It's the book telling you something. This is completely wrong. It is not like that. Okay. Well, let me tell you that for those who actually know what divination is and how to do it, we don't even need the book. Right? We understand what those symbols mean. We just decode the symbol according to the situation. We don't look at the book for reference. There's no need. You understand what those symbols mean, and then you can talk to the God and verify what the God actually want to tell you. It's like the God gives you a number, right? Oh, 357. What is 357? So according to the basic meaning, it should have these properties, right? So according to what I asked, then it should mean these things. So I asked the God, do you mean this? And then I asked the God again, and the God say, yeah, close. Okay, I do another polishing, and I asked the God, is this what you mean? No. Okay, another direction. And eventually we work out an answer that the God say, yes, this is what I mean. Then that is the answer. As you can see, divination is a very lively thing. Okay, we have to communicate with the God to work back and forth. It's a very lively thing. So you might ask, how can the God give us the answer in such a short time without even, like, for example, looking at the matter? Or how can a God know? Like, I asked the God, is tomorrow a good day to do this? The God is like, yes, it is. Like, how can the God know? Okay, now this is what you don't understand because you never, like, you have not seen the God's vision's perspective. Okay, the God don't see here like this world, like how we see it. Well, let's say now we are here, right? You look around, okay? That's your world. That's how it is. So here I have my camera, I have my lighting, I have this and that, right? That's what you see. Imagine you're like in outer space and you look down, right? It's a different view. Same world, you see different things. Well, imagine you go like higher up. Oh, you see it differently too, right? So you have different perspective of how you see things according to where you are. The gods, they are in another dimension, which we call the pre-heaven dimension. It means that they're in a layer or a world that is that exists before our world here exists. Okay, so they exist in a world that is more ancient than ours. It's born before our layer here is even here. So for them to look at us, it's a very different view. I can kind of tell you like a metaphor. It's like they look at us like how we look at a video Okay, on YouTube, you see, if you're watching a video on YouTube like this one, it's linear. Like you have to look at the box, and it keeps on happening because the video is playing that you can keep watching. To them, it's kind of like you're looking at a timeline, like you're the editor. You look at the timeline, and then you can like snap back and then forward and so on, and you can jump frames. But your video is kind of not linear because there is like a point of happening, which is like that's the real time. That's like the now. Okay. However, there are some points that is like at the back. They're like history. They happen already, and those won't change. There are stuff there that is like in the future. The future have not happened yet. And so there are many possible things that can happen according to the the current point right here. Okay? So in a way we can say your future is not set. It's not like it's already there. You just walk there and then it will happen. No, it's not like that. There are many possibilities which can happen. And the most possible one will be the most energetic one, the most like visible ones. Okay? So when the God looks at you, they see the you right now here. And they also can see the before and they can see the future. They can jump frames. So you ask them, tomorrow, is it a good day to do this? They can jump the frame and see, okay, according to the different possibilities, tomorrow, this is not a good choice. Then you will get the answer is a negative. Right? They see things differently because they can jump between those time. They have no restriction of time. Like when you're editing a video, you don't have restriction of time too. You don't have to play the video from the beginning to the end. You can jump and then come back. Right? So that's what most people don't understand because you don't see the God's vision. You can jump. Is that time traveling? Maybe, sort of, but not really. Okay, but the thing is there actually time traveling in their world? I would say yes, there is, but there's also limitation. Okay, from what I have learned from them, and heard from them, yes, there is time travel, and like you can go back in time, and you can also go. Well, you cannot go into the future actually, but you can see the future. You can go back in time, but you cannot do some stuff like you cannot go change things, but it's still going to happen because it is history. So what do they use time travel for is sometimes for like crime investigation, problem investigation. That's what they use it for in their world. Okay, that's what I heard from them. But they also have this thing where like you can go into like a dimension to do things, and that dimension don't have time, or you can say like the time there and the time in the physical dimension is very different. So it's like, for example, here the time goes like this, right? You jump into the other dimension and you started working on your project. You spend like 4 days there and then you come back. It might be just like 4 minutes just pass by. Okay, it's kind of like time difference. Maybe like that will be a better explanation. Or you can say like because the dimension is like this one is slower. So you go into there, you work, right? You work the same speed, but the time flows slower. So here the time flow faster. You come back out is like, oh, like that. Maybe the other way around. Well, whatever, right? You get the idea. It's very complicated. So for them to look at us, for the God to look at us, okay, they see our world in a very non-linear way. It's very different from how humans see this world. If you got a chance to see how God move, right? Like in this world, if the God appear in your house, how does the God move? Like how do they travel? God don't travel like this. Okay, like imagine the feet, right? God don't go like that. God is like this. They appear, flash, like flash. Okay, and they want to go here, right? Flash, flash, like that. In the movies, you sometimes see that. It's like zoom, 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 zoom. It's like you you kind of just jump frame, from here, and then you disappear, and then you appear here, disappear, appear here, like that, right? It kind of like that. That's how the God move. The God don't like slowly walk. So yeah, when the God has to appear here in your home, they flash to your home. That's how they travel. They flash, just appear, and then they disappear. Whoops, and then they appear again. Like that. So gods are like that to us, and well, of course you cannot see it, but with like if you're like at my stage, you cultivate enough, right? You'll be able to see it. So now I'm telling you because it's my personal experience. Um, so yeah, sometimes they will say, I feel like a God is following me and such like that, right? And then they see things. The God actually move, do things like it's like a real person following you, and you see that person move, but in a spiritual form. That is not a God. That's not a God. That's a spirit. Spirits, um, like evil spirit, ghosts, whatever, right? They follow about the same time speed as our world. So you can see a ghost. If you see a ghost, right, the ghost could be moving and doing things about the same speed as here. They might be a little bit slower. Okay, so the ghost might be like kind of slow motion, but you still see them moving. Like the ghost want to touch you, they will touch you. They will walk, like that. But you see, you're not jumping frame, right? But if they're more in the pre-heaven dimension, like if the more ancient their world is, they flash like that, right? They don't move. It's not like they don't move. It's more like you don't see them move because they're so fast. Okay, so it's a very complex thing, and I'm not good at explaining science, so it's not scientific, but it's something that I witnessed. So I'm just telling you that, right? So how the God knows and give us answer so fast is because they flash to the future and see all that possibility and come back. So for divination, is it like a set truth? Like is it a definite truth? That God say something, it must be true. No, it's not. That's what's shocking, right? No, it's not. That God is like an advisor telling you something. Oh, tomorrow the weather should be nice, but tomorrow turned out it's like raining. Well, too bad, something happened. So you'll be like, well, the God is like not like the know it all. Yeah, they are not. The God also tell me that they're not. Right? They don't know anything. Like they don't know everything. So what they can do is they try to help you based on what they see. That's it. So your job, what is your job? Your job as a Taoist is to help the God understand what's going on around here. Right? The more information you give the God, the smarter the God can be for you because it's like your AI, it's like your Google assistant. The more you use it, the better it gets because it has more data. It knows more so that they can interpret things better. The best example is, well, if you ask the God for advice for cooking, right? The first few times, not very good. Maybe one time, very good, and then not good again. And you're like, oh, how come the God is like not working or what? No, it's not. It's just that the God don't know what you like and don't know about the stuff here. So you got to tell the God, oh, this is like too salty. This is too sweet. I don't like this kind of flavor. And then you talk to the God, you give feedback to the God afterward. The more you do that, right? The God understands you. The God understands the food around you, right? The spices around you. And you experience stuff. And you give the experience to the God. Then the God will learn from that. And eventually the God gets smarter and smarter, and then it will be able to help you and give you much better advice. You see, in Taoism, we don't see God like how the Christians see their God. It's like, oh, our God knows everything. Is the best guy, the perfect. No, no, it's not. Okay, Taoists, our gods are not like that. Our gods are powerful, but it is also the Taoist job to cultivate with their God, because usually you don't just get direct communication with that one God above. That is not a God that helps you. The God that has helping you is a personalized, a copy of that God above. That personalized God has to be cultivated. It's like there is a base profile. Everyone get a copy of that base profile, and then you cultivate it with your own effort to make use of it, and then it becomes something good. Just like our phones, every one of us start off with the base model of the Android or whatever iOS, right? You have like the default programs and all that. Okay, you're all starting the same, and then you cultivate it, right? You started adding programs, you do tweaks, you change settings, you use the AI, you improve the bots and so on. Whatever you do with it, you're cultivating that Android system, that iOS system. It gets better, it gets more like customized for what you need it for. And then eventually that will be the customized version, right? Same thing with the God. You cultivate the God becomes your God. It becomes powerful for you. So, okay, back to the topic, time travel. Okay, time travel exists, but it's not really like how we imagine it to be. It's not like you can, oh, let's travel back in time and then we can like change things and change the whole world. It doesn't work like that. You can't really change what happened. For the future, it has not happened yet. So even you can like travel, it's more like you can see the possibilities, but they're not real. Okay, it all depends on the one point of reality of like this is the current real point. That point, the decision making point. What decision we make will change the future. It's our heart that makes a decision. It changed the future. All that future out there is not real, not happened yet. So even say time travel, time like viewing is real. So what? You still need to live your life, right? But that piece of information about time traveling at least lets you understand how the God help us through divination. Why the God knows more than us? How can they see more? Why do we rely on the gods for answer? It's because they are in a dimension that they can see what we cannot. They can see the possibilities of the future. We cannot. They can track back to the past. We cannot, right? So you ask the God for help. The God can help you with its ability like that. But is it like, oh, then, I can be successful with anything because the God give me advice for, whatever the future? No, because it also depends on how you do. Okay, you have advice, great, it's going to help, but it's not a guarantee. You still need to do a good job yourself to make use of it. Okay, so today's timer is up and we have to stop. So remember to subscribe, like, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye bye.